So this video is not the best, but I just want to see if I can try to get this point across. This message is for you, a struggling young person. So I need you to succeed as well. So I'm 22 and I'm full of life. I've had such a meaningful journey so far in life that I want to share with people. I want people to understand. And yet I'm rotting away in a lot of ways simultaneously. I can feel myself dying at least half the time is how it feels. I'm always expecting death. I'm always expecting things to go wrong. Nonetheless, though, my life purpose is to try to bring light to the people and places that are most isolated and in most darkness. It's very meaningful. It's like a very meaningful life. I think about it in these very meaningful terms. And for the longest time now, I've just been content in a way, not entirely content, of course, but content in a way where I don't mind dying. I've gone on a lot of adventures and it feels enough. It feels great. So I'm just like, okay, I can be done. I don't mind. But I need you to be alive because you're a human being who deserves to be alive, but also so that we can reform our culture and turn this fucking ship around. Because if you're like me, you're just going to recognize all the problems in the world right now and it's just going to crush you. And I say all the problems and it's like you're kind of imagining some or a lot of the problems. But it's just like all the problems, every one of them. Every one of them that leads to exploitation of peoples and the resources of the earth and the animals and just everything. Everything. Like it's corrupt. Everything's corrupt, but I don't need to get too into detail with that because you kind of already know. You already know what I'm talking about. I've seen pure pain. Just pure pain. And everyone around me is just struggling. Literally everyone I've met is traumatized. Every single person. It clicked like sometime last year. I was just like, oh, yeah. There was a situation with some people, and it was just like, oh yeah. Everyone sat in a room together to try to resolve something, and it was just like, oh yeah, everyone's completely traumatized, and it shapes their worldview, and it's essentially the context to the problems that we're having right now. It's like everyone's just traumatized. Everyone was abused. And it's tragic and something needs to be done. And I'm thinking on a big scale, of course. It all starts within us and just each person has their own responsibility, of course. And it's a damn big responsibility that each person has. So I'll say my bit with this video, but I'll also encourage you to share your story with me. Not even through comments. It doesn't have to be through comments. You can literally just email me and I'll read it. I don't care about the metrics and the algorithms of this video. I just care about hopefully reaching someone who is similar to me in a lot of ways. I care about talking about these things. I care about bringing them to light. So I have a structure, of course, for the video that I'm reading off of. I'm not the greatest content creator by any means. Again, it's good to try. The point of these videos that I make, it's to try. Right? So moving on. Do you have a fiery, sense of purpose deep inside of you? What kind of beauty exists inside of you? I'm curious. What kind of beauty exists? What do you want? And this might sound silly, but what do you want buildings to look like? If you could go down the street or you could build your own home, what would it look like ideally? What kind of beautiful aesthetics would you like? And that's just one question. That's one question that I want to know. But I want to know what's truly good about you and what is truly good about the world. What do you want to give to the world? I feel like my life has been changed since I have, ever since years and years ago, I felt a deep interpersonal purpose rather than just a personal, just like more selfish type of thought process. Nowadays, I just, if there's nothing I can give to the world, it's pointless. And I'm sure you resonate with that a little bit, at least a little bit, if not a lot more. What can you do to make your community thrive? Because local community is so important. And global community as well. What art or songs have saved your life? I know it's got to be some. I know there's like some like song or something that represents in your own language how you feel about life. And like, I'm curious about that because I know that's the case for me. If you could live your ideal life, what would it look like? I feel like everyone wants a village with their friends. Like a village, like a tiny home village with their friends or something like that. Sort of outside of town, but close enough. Or maybe just a cabin in the woods with their partner or something. Does it, like, do you know what I mean? So I am, the thing that I do in life is I'm constantly encouraging the idea that we can have these things in a very real and literal sense. I know it may be hard to imagine that right now, and imagining that may even be discouraging as it was for me. Like, oh, fuck you. Like, it's almost like, fuck you. Like, why are you trying to give me a false sense of hope? Like, that's how I would feel if I heard someone just say what I just said. But it's like, no, like, first of all, we have to have hope, right? Like, especially in the unhopeful times. It's a cliche. Everything I'm telling you is a cliche of some kind. Of course, it needs to be said still, reiterated. Hopefully in a language that people can understand. But I mean, this is crucial. I mean, we have to be hopeful. And I believe that we can have these things in a very real, literal sense. I noticed some of these problems, probably 5 years ago, and I was just like, people don't have ownership anymore. People can't afford a house. Fuck it. I'll build my own house. Just give me the means necessary to do that. And I didn't even find the means. I wanted to do things ethically. I didn't want to go through an insurance fucking company or whatever the fuck. Like, I didn't want to go through the traditional process because I realized that it was rotten to its core. Everything from terms like real estate to just, corporate, like, why would a corporation be able to buy land? And I know I'm using essentially land ownership as an example, but I'm sure you've seen this in your own life. It's just this corruption, this like filth that is our modern systems that everybody hates, but of course no one can escape. Nonetheless, though, I'm trying to tell you, I believe that we can escape this. I know that we can escape this because that's what I'm working to do in my life right now. So everything that I have done in life has led me to understand that basically your and I, both of our contributions to the world are absolutely necessary, even if they are tiny and like completely insignificant actions. Because, by the way, the biggest lie that we've ever been told is that our actions are just kind of insignificant. Like, you can do stuff, but it won't exactly create change. That's the biggest lie we've ever been told. And it just keeps people like stuck. It's a complete fucking lie, and it's complete poison. And I'm speaking out against it in this video. Let's put that idea to death together. I've gone far along on this journey enough to know that, first of all, I can be proven wrong. I can have expectations, negative expectations that end up being not so negative, which is great. It's kind of cliche, of course. I don't I don't have like the most important life experience. That's another thing, is like I've gone on adventures and everything, and I've experienced some stuff. It's not the greatest, right? It's not like I have a big whole book of just life experience. But the point is, like, everything that we do matters. Every last thing. Every last tiny little minute action. I mean, think about when you were a kid. You probably remember, like, here and there, just random, tiny little insignificant things that somebody else did. Completely insignificant things. But you remember it nonetheless. So don't underestimate small actions. And of course, take small actions. This is how we're going to save our world. So moving on. You're not crazy. You're not wrong. We are missing some shit. Like, something's missing from the modern world. Society deprives us of certain deeper needs, like deep connection, shared vision, in a way, connection to our community, and shared living, connection to food and land and ownership. You've heard these things before, but isn't it true? This is what I've observed, at least. Do you not also desperately want a home, or like a tribe or a village, something like that? I'm sure you do to some extent. And this is all complex. You know, it's more nuanced than this. You probably do have some actual connection to your community. Not everyone does, but some people actually do. But me speaking right now, I once did feel connected in my community. And then I essentially kicked myself out because they didn't meet me, they didn't understand me. No one truly cared. And I just, we were united around a shared religious belief, and I couldn't do it anymore because it was a lie, quite frankly. So now I'm just still in search of real community. So I'm feeling this deprivation. I want to have shared living. I want to have a shared connection to the food and land. And of course, I want to have a stake. I want to have like a stake in the ground. Like, I want to have, like, this is my home. This is a place that I have ownership over, that I can make into my own. Not for me, but of course for the people in my life who I want to provide some comfort for. You probably know what I mean. I'm someone who would have wanted to provide this, but then it feels like I'm not able to, which is very demoralizing. Because it's like the whole world's just like, fuck you, you have to go through this bureaucratic process that is immoral. And I'm just like, no, like, fuck you. Something has to change. So I try to end every sentence, it seems, with just like, something has to change. That's what I'm letting you know. So I walked into a college recently, and I saw these young guys, and I was so upset, though, because I haven't hung out with people my age since I essentially did a work program with friends in a highly connected and high community spiritual place. It was a Christian sort of program. Best thing ever, right? Absolutely best thing ever. Everything you could possibly need. Everything. Brotherhood, a shared purpose of uniting people for Christ. Beauty all around you, because of course it's in an ideal setting. That whole thing. And I just couldn't do it. And then it just fell apart. And then I went back to the normal world. And then I just completely cried. Harder than I've ever cried every time I've left there. So now my life goal is to essentially have that, except on a smaller scale and more sustainable, right? That's my life goal, very, very simply put. It's very hard though, because now I have to re-examine all the religious part of it. I have to re-examine the sustainability part of it. I have to re-examine, just break apart everything and just see if something like that is possible again. But when I walked into the college, I was just like, wow, there's young people, and I would be nervous to start a conversation with any of them. These are guys my age, probably. I was just like, wow. Like, it felt weird seeing them. I mean, for somebody like us, like me and you, I don't know. I'm assuming that we're vaguely similar. We probably feel weird anyway, just doing anything, because just observing human behavior. If you're like me, you're probably going to experience some degree of depersonalization, a sort of derealization, where you're looking out into the world, but it's not quite real. It's almost like a 2D image. So that alone is weird. And then it's just like, oh wow, there's these guys, and of course college has a monopoly on socialization. Those work programs, they have a monopoly on socialization, but there's nothing that would be right and okay and following my life purpose for me to go to college. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just stuck in this weird fucking situation where I just have to claw my way through hell in a sort of way to find community. And it's like, fuck. Like, I don't want to go to college, study some shit that I don't care about. I want to re-examine my entire life. I want to take 10 steps backwards from normal life. Not to be unique or special or anything like that, but just to make sure that my life doesn't have bullshit in it. Exploitation. I don't want, like I've cut out all my snacks. Like, this sounds insane, but I've stopped really eating snacks as of recently anymore. I went vegan and everything. I was just like, well, there's exploitation here. There's supply chain, possible debt bondage, child labor there. There's factory farming and animal cruelty there. Just like, to hell with all of it. So I want to take 10 steps backwards. I don't want to have to join college just to socialize, just to have friends again. I don't know. I have one friend right now. I have one friend. And even that feels difficult sometimes. I want more friends. I want more friends who can meet my needs in different ways, so that I can talk to this friend about something that this friend couldn't exactly deal with, who doesn't need to deal with. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I have to fight tooth and nail for that. This is why I've been using the internet. The internet's such a great tool. And, this is kind of like a side rant, but whatever. I'm going to let myself just say this just for a second, because it's been on my mind. I've been learning about OSINT, open source intelligence, and anything relating to just finding stuff online. Because first of all, it's very relevant to my work, which, if you investigate my profile here and everything, you'll find. But it's also just relevant to, like, I don't know, not OSINT specifically, but it's just relevant to finding shit online, filtering the world essentially to find what matters most to you. It's very difficult. Things are stacked against us, like algorithms, which I'll talk about in a second. So yeah, connection with other people my age is sort of monopolized by these institutions that I can never possibly integrate into because of my life purpose and my own needs. My friends, the problems we face are so huge and so disgusting. Think about the island guys. You know what I mean? The island scandal, right? And it's genuinely awful. Certain ideas like Christianity and aggressive ideologies, I've seen them dominate culture in a way. And we can't always take, we should, but we can't always take the good out of that pile of chaos and then, build a real and life-bringing ideology or sort of spiritual way of engaging with the deeper questions of life and the world. We can't always do that. Very demoralizing. For me, I've just I've wanted a perfect ideology. I've wanted some kind of religious thing that can just solve the problems. Like, just meet me and help me. And I had it. And then it just falls apart. And it's just like, what's the correct answer? I don't know the correct answer. I'd love to know. Truth is, nobody knows the correct answer because everyone has different answers. It's very confusing, isn't it? So even if you think you have the correct answer, somebody else thinks they have the correct answer. So who do I trust? But yeah, just like non-practical and non-scientific stuff of the world. You know, this is a huge thing for me. Like, I'm a very practical person, but I also just, you know, like, I realize that the world is a very material place. You know, we need to do actions to save the world. We can't just hope that things will get better. But on the other hand, it's like, we need to have something divine, something beautiful, something a little bit non-practical that just like kind of skyrockets our hope a little bit so that we can actually get the shit done. But yeah, moving on a little bit. Algorithms are wrongfully used against us instead of for us. We all know this. And an addiction to multiple things is commonplace. I don't know, I heard this content creator, he was a small content creator, but he's just like, most people are addicted to like 10 things, like cigarettes, vape, phone, sugar, TV, etc. Like, you know, and I was just like, wow, I really don't want to admit that, but in my experience, in my actual experience, that is actually true. I can't deny it, right? It's very frustrating. It's so depressing, dude. Perhaps society needs a shared sense of direction. Or maybe even just a local society, a smaller society, small community. To lead by example. I think we need to have values and virtues to live by. Let's go on this quest together. So now I want to get to my advice. Oh my God, yes, I have advice. I have advice because there are a couple of genuinely incredible things that I've been able to do. A lot of it is up to some luck, some RNG, but it's absolutely incredible. And I need to say it. It's part of the video, right? It's part of the video. I can't shy away. I can't have self-doubts now. We're already through the video. So yeah, my advice. Ew. I know, right? Advice from me? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a stranger online. Like, are you kidding me? Or if you know me in person, that's even worse, because now you know too much about me, and I'm gonna have to get rid of you. Just kidding. But yeah, no, I know that advice is disgusting, but whatever. Like, I have a point that I'm trying to get across. So, life becomes more meaningful when we see that our voice matters in local and even worldwide community. In terms of like politics, but also in terms of just having a sense of ownership, like I've been saying. You know, taking a responsibility for the world that we live in on either of these scales, like, you know, worldwide and local, so crucial, so important. I truly believe that if people felt more like their actions and their voice mattered, shit would get done. But I'm here to assure you that if we build and we work together, like you and I, we're probably a little bit like-minded, right? I'm assuming, if you're going to watch this. So already now we have like that connection point of like, wow, there's another person who is kind of like me or who is saying these things. So now we can start building, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, like iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm telling you that your insignificant actions are not actually insignificant. Listen to that. Like, fucking take something away from this. I swear, man. Take notes if you have to. You know, I haven't learned much. Like, I'm still an idiot to some extent, right? But I've learned something crucial here. In the fucking noise, I've learned something. Not to be smart, but just to try to help the world. You know what I mean? Like, this is all I fucking care about. I was talking to my only friend, and I was just like, I'm worried that all I truly care about is just like starting the peaceful revolution. And I don't even care deeply about, connection, like with a partner and everything. I care truly about this. It's just like, I want to make a video that like gets enough views, reaches the right people. That's it. That's what I'm worried that I truly just care the most about. So do not ignore your personal legend, your life purpose, and your internal convictions. Convictions, like the little voice in your head that's like, hey, let's look more into this product before we buy it. Or, hey, let's not do something bad. Just like the little voice that does or doesn't get listened to. Little voice in your head that's like a little angel on your shoulder, if you will. Your life purpose, I mean, some people can get away with, there's a few people out there who probably can get away with not feeling a strong sense of purpose. You and I can't, right? Like we're going to want a purpose. More than likely, I'm making an assumption there, of course. But if you're like me, you're going to want a fucking purpose. You're going to want to feel like you have a solid direction, and it doesn't have to be like a purpose for human existence. It mainly just has to be a purpose for you. Just like my purpose to some extent is to, and it's more complex than this, but it's just like, I want to try to end exploitation in my life and then talk about it and see if we can like start a peaceful revolution, start the fire. Because exploitation is built into our society, as we all know. So like, let's just act morally consistent and then get the ball rolling and then just make shit happen, right? Don't ignore your convictions. Because they're helping you. They're helping you be a more virtuous person. And by the way, virtue does matter. I'm going to say it. It's controversial. We should strive to be pure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, you probably have like a misconception a little bit of what I'm saying. But we should strive to be pure. That's probably controversial, especially in Christianity. Like, Christianity, of course, in the negative parts of it, right, are about making excuses and justifications for evil, right? Obviously, you can see my bias starting to creep in. But no, we should live by virtue. I'm going to say that right now. By the way, you probably want a partner, like a romantic partner. I've seen this as the priority of so many young people. And I just want to say, use the internet. Use the internet. Like, it's my advice and everything, whatever. It's not going to entirely work out like that, but use the internet. I don't know. I was going to consider telling you, no, it's not that much of a priority. Like, I was going to consider trying to reason with you, assuming that like a struggling young person who wants a partner is going to watch this video. I was going to try to tell you, like, don't worry about it. Like, I don't know, try to build something great instead. But that would just be wrong, But I'm going to tell you right now, the internet is a great tool. If you're willing to travel to meet your partner, if you're willing to be minimalist, give up some comfort, I think you're in for some good potential. So I'm just going to say that. And if that is one of your priorities, maybe a partner and then maybe ownership over a cabin in the woods or something. Something that you don't have to sell your soul away to just to maintain, a subscription service to life. Fuck that. But if you're like that, just, that's a good priority. We should want intimacy and connection with a partner. And I wish you luck in that. That's a good endeavor. But dear God, I also just want us to focus on some of the basics sometimes. So if you could just do that too, please. You know what I mean? So yeah, moving on a little bit. I'm nervous to suggest things that helped me because I know you've already heard millions of suggestions. In fact, I know that you just heard people suggest shit, especially older people, just like, hey, like they'll just give an unsolicited suggestion, and it's just like, that's not exactly helpful, but you know, they just fucking say it anyway, right? You've heard millions of these, and people immediately shout out, like, they shout out suggestions the second you open up about how you really feel, is what I've noticed. You know what I mean? But yeah, here's some more of my suggestions, I guess. Traveling and finding community. Of course, I use the internet to do this. Again, one of the greatest tools if used correctly, double-edged sword. Another cliche that we must know. Traveling, though, is what I've done. Not everyone does this. It's just like traveling. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, you could take a bus or a plane or a train for relatively cheap, and like with just low resources, like low risk, especially if you're just willing to kind of like accept help from people as you go and just kind of like build a different skill set pertaining to just like traveling and being nomadic. Like, it can really work out for you, especially in contexts like seasonal work. Stuff like that is awesome. Finding community, looking for your people. This is what I'm doing right now. Like, I've been all over the place in the last year. You know what I mean? I've been on a quest, like a literal quest across the country. But this journey of trying to connect and just getting inspired. You know, I get so inspired sometimes. I'm so grandiose. I'm so grandiose. I'm almost to my detriment. But even just making content online is incredibly impactful as well. I mean, I only make this content because there was a content creator who was kind of like me, with like no attention. You know, actually he had a couple hundred views or whatever sometimes, but basically no attention in comparison to the main content creators. And he was just like, record videos like how I am. He ended up just deleting everything and just hiding away. And I'm kind of worried about him now. Like, I don't know him or anything. It's just a content creator that I've seen, but like, he inspired me to make this video. That's why I've been recording these videos. It's because I know that it matters. Because again, I saw someone and it mattered to me. It helped my life. So again, your small actions fucking matter, right? So I went to a village, like an actual village, close community and all, connection to the land, everything. It's not perfect. It's not the Garden of Eden, but it's the closest thing to it, if you know what I mean. And it skyrocketed my mental health, genuinely. Like, it just shot it completely up. That can only last so long before you eventually just reach a baseline where just, even a good life, you start to take things for granted, and then it's just get a little bit disappointed and a little bit more suicidal, honestly. But nonetheless, you know, we're young. Like, we're still kind of young. You know, 22, it's kind of young. You know, teenagers, definitely young. A little bit older than that, still kind of young. I mean, as long as you have some health, like, you're still young. So let's travel. Like, let's go on a quest. You know what I mean? Like, genuinely. Like, if you're watching this and you're very aligned with me, I want to go on a quest with you, for real. Like, genuinely. My capability to work towards having a home for a real human-centered alternative price. So not like $1 billion or selling your soul to a bank, paying taxes indefinitely when you hate the government, right? So having a human-centered approach, a life-centered approach, maybe not human, because humans clearly creating this horrible system that they uphold, just a life-centered approach. That my capability to accomplish that has been, it's been fixed in a way. I felt so encouraged. And it's incredible. Like, I feel like the goal is achievable again, which I did not feel like for so long, when all around me I just saw was a nightmare of just modern life. You know, as at one point I was just wandering through the countryside, just writing letters to people, just like asking if they could just lend like a part of their land to me, like in a very human and just very, like, I actually put a lot of thought into it. It's just, you know, can you share with me? Like, you have a lot. Like, can you share a little bit? It's very interesting time. But now things feel accomplishable again. They still feel fucking horrible most of the time. Again, I'm still like dying. Like, I wanted to die yesterday. Right? Like, yesterday I was taking comfort in the idea of having quick access to, you know, committing right? Anyway, though, I have a presence online where I encourage people to fight the worst problems of our time. I feel like I have purposeful work. It helps me to know that there are vulnerable people struggling somewhere, and that we as people can change things to radically help them. That, in my mind, is what I conceptualize as our great shared work, is finding the people who are in the most isolated and vulnerable and darkest positions. I have a whole website dedicated to writing about child exploitation prevention because of this. It's our great shared work. This is our shared work as a society, is finding who's most left behind in darkness and just helping them. So to conclude, thank you for watching this, by the way. Holy shit. I'm just gonna hope someone's gonna watch this. My theory is I might get one view, like a view or two, probably 3 max, and they won't like actually, like, they're like, I check the analytics sometimes. I know I probably shouldn't, but you know, there's not going to be any watch time. So that's the theorization for this video. So, you know, it's mainly for me at that point. But to conclude, right, share your story with me and us. Maybe there's somebody else who would want to see your story. I don't know. Share your story somehow. I mean, I know that your story is important, especially if you're like me and you like to mainly just listen to people, and you've never really had the opportunity to talk as much. Like, definitely share your story. Answer those questions that I asked earlier in the video. Like, you know, what's your favorite song? Like, why is it your favorite? What about the language of the song has saved your life in a way, because it like translates your own words that people don't quite understand. But then of course you would have to translate it. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, that sounds weird as hell to say. But it's like, why do we listen to songs? Is because they can say our thoughts. Like, the artist can say our thoughts in a unique kind of way. But also just take radical steps. I mean, you know, we live in the age of action. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it's just time to go. It's time to go. Tell your friends, like, tell everybody. It's time to go. Like, it's time to take action. I want people to empower me with that. I want to empower people to do that. Just take radical steps. Act on convictions. Yes. Just act on convictions. I swear. I ignored my convictions for so long. Like, the little voice that was just like, hey, maybe we should go vegan. Just for the context that I've received in life. Like, hey, like, I don't know for sure 100%, a million percent if it's bad, but 99%, you know, 98, like 95%, like, this isn't looking great. Like, let's look into it. That's a conviction. That is not something to be ignored. Don't betray yourself. I swear to God. Don't fucking betray yourself. Don't betray the better parts of yourself. Don't sell yourself for nothing. You have a beautiful purpose. This I am convinced of. Because as someone who wants to understand how exploitation creeps into society and plagues us and destroys life, I have realized that everybody plays a crucial part. Everybody, period, plays a crucial part in the prevention of abuse and exploitation. That includes you. It could be anything. It could be a small action, as not by like it could be anything. It could just be like writing a letter declaring that like you're withdrawing your support for, I don't know, buying something that has an exploitative supply chain. Just anything. I don't even need to get into the examples in this video because you know what it might be. You know what it might be in your life. And that might also be related to convictions. But yeah, you definitely have a life purpose. Like even I know that. It just makes sense, right? I'm curious to know what you think about that. And finally, my success is dependent on if you succeed. What I mean is, if I woke up tomorrow and I just saw a headline, like a news headline that just said something along the lines of, Americans are waking up, a sort of fire of revolution has been lit, people are they're withdrawing their support for corrupt institutions, more local communities are sprouting up across the world, and more of an emphasis is being placed on priorities as a society, like protecting the most vulnerable instead of fucking protecting, I don't know, your car or some shit. Just like investing resources where it matters. If I see the headline, okay? If I see the news headline that says that the fire has been lit, I will be happy. Do you understand? If I see that my impact has helped somebody else be happier, I'm going to be happier, right? I'm going to feel succeeded. If somebody else that I encouraged goes on to create a project completely outside of me that helps the world truly, I will feel success for that. And this, I believe and hope, is like an sort of an integrated and good way of thinking. And I can only hope to be more connected to the whole and to the world. But I have to go throw up now. Thank you for watching this video. And I'm curious for engagement. I'm curious to know what you might think about this. Thank you for listening.